Hi guys, my name is Christa and this is Core by Christa's Bodyweight Series. It's a 12-class series that focuses on connecting you to your body, resetting your body, and building functional strength. Today is class number 6 and we're going to be talking about cardiovascular strength and how that's improved through movement. So when you're ready, grab your mat and let's get started. All right, guys, class is in session. Today is class number 6, and we're going to be talking about the cardiovascular system and how we strengthen that system through movement. Now, we're going to start with just some general cardiac anatomy and physiology, and then we'll go into a little bit more about how we strengthen that system as we move our bodies and through exercise. Now, we're not going to go super in depth, so don't worry, but I want you guys to get an idea about the heart, what it is, what it does, and how it supports our body on an everyday basis. So your heart is a muscle, and it's about the size of your fist. Obviously that differs based on person and the size of the person and what have you, but generally speaking, your heart is about the size of the fist, and it's located a little left of center in your chest. So when people say place your hand on your heart, we always place it right here, a little left of center, right on our chest, because that's where our heart is located. So the heart itself is composed of 4 different chambers. You have 2 upper chambers called your atria and 2 lower chambers called your ventricles. And there's a left and right of either of those things. And generally what the heart does is it pumps blood through the body to deliver oxygen. Our body needs oxygen, our muscles need oxygen, any process in the body, anything we ask our body to do requires oxygen. So that is the heart's job, to pump blood through the body and deliver oxygen. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So we're going to talk generally about the process of the heart and how it oxygenates the blood and the flow of the blood as it goes through your body. So it starts coming from the body, and all of the oxygen has been taken from the body. So it comes back through the vena cava, which is a vein, into the right atria. And it doesn't have oxygen. It's deoxygenated. The body has taken up the oxygen that it needs. The blood comes back to the heart so it can be reoxygenated and redistributed throughout the body. So it comes up through the vena cava into the right atria. It travels from the right atria to your right ventricle. And then it's pumped out through the pulmonary artery so that it can travel to the lungs and offload carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. So now our blood has oxygen again, and it goes back into the heart through the pulmonary vein right into the left atria. So from the left atria, that upper chamber, it travels to the left ventricle, and now this blood containing oxygen is pumped out through the left ventricle to the rest of our body. So now our blood can be delivering oxygen to the body, its muscles, and help us with everything we need to do throughout our day. So generally speaking, that's the pattern of our blood as it moves through our body, and that's how our heart works to supply the body with oxygenated blood. Now, obviously there's a lot more that goes into the anatomy and physiology of the heart. So if you have any more questions, just let me know. You can shoot me a comment in the video or send me an email. But generally speaking, that is the structure and function of the heart and what it does for our bodies. Now, we can strengthen that system and the efficiency of that system through exercise and moving our bodies. So a lot of you refer to this as doing cardio, right? Getting your heart rate up, getting out of breath, running, walking, dancing, swimming, playing sports, all of those things, and strength training. So the more consistent we are about doing those types of exercises, moving our body, getting out of breath, doing things that are hard, that get our heart rate up, we're going to strengthen that system. And again, that's kind of generally speaking, but for the intent and purposes of this class, just know that when you're moving your body and when you're getting out of breath and it feels a little bit hard, that's a good thing. We're strengthening our heart and the whole system around getting oxygen through our entire body. So we'll start with some resets, we'll do some core stuff, challenging ourselves in new ways, and then we're going to get our heart rates a little bit up through movement. So let's start down on our elbows. Elbows are right under our shoulders. Lengthen those legs, drop those shoulders away from your ears. As always, we're gonna start with some breath work here. So let's breathe as we move and nod that head. Look to the sky or just kneeling, let that belly fully expand. Exhale and move, chin to chest. Move at your own pace. Start checking in with your body. How does your body feel? Where do you feel like you have limited motion? Where is there tension? Do you have any pain today? And just be aware of that as you move. Move at your own pace, move with your breath. Now let's look towards our feet. Drop those shoulders away from your ears, nod that head, look, lead with your eyes. Maybe you want to take a few breaths here. Maybe you feel tight in your neck or your shoulders. Just listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. Back and forth. We'll do a couple more here. And then slowly lower yourself down, hands by your chest. We're gonna rep out some press ups. So shoulders stay away from your ears, press yourself up so your hips are still on the ground. Slowly lower yourself down. So squeeze your butt, squeeze your legs. We're lengthening our anterior chain, the front side of our bodies. Slowly lower yourself down. Do a couple more. Last one, we'll come all the way down. So we're gonna do some scorpions. One hand comes out. Let's stay on one side. So drop that shoulder away from your ear. Bring that foot all the way up towards your hand as much as you can, moving through a pain-free range of motion. Go one more, and then we'll do the other side. All right, switch hands. We'll move the other direction. So we're lengthening a little bit through our chest, getting a little movement in our spine and our hips. You can leave your head on the ground, or you can look over your shoulder. Do what feels good for your body. We'll do a couple more on this side. Go one more. We're going to take a few breaths, fold those hands, use your diaphragm. In through your nose, let that belly fully expand. Breathe out through your nose. Take two more breaths. And last breath. Place those hands by your chest. Push yourself up to your hands and your knees. So we're going to do some rocking. I want you to point your toes. Shoulders over your wrists, butt over your heels. Keep that head up. Spread those fingertips wide. Now turn those toes in to face each other. We're going to mobilize our ankles a little bit. I've said this before, but we're going to do it together intentionally. So toes are pointed, flat on the ground, and turned in towards each other as you rock. Now I want you to take those ankles and rotate so the toes point out away from each other. Notice if you have any restricted movement here in those ankles. Now we're gonna do the same thing, 3 directions with our feet flexed. So toes planted on the mat, butt over your heels, shoulders over your wrists. Spread those fingertips wide. And now turn those toes in towards each other. So we're just moving at our ankle slightly, so those toes point inwards towards each other. We'll do a few rocks here, and then we'll flip and turn them out. All right, turn those toes to the outside. Maybe you need to slow it down. And if this is painful, you can always just go to whatever variation of rock that you need to do today. All right, now we're gonna do a rocking crawl. So, rock back, rock forward, rock back, rock forward, but it's opposite arm, opposite leg. So this takes a little bit of coordination. So again, a contralateral movement, rock back, rock forward. So as I come back and forward, I'm moving opposite arm, opposite leg, but we're gonna stay on one side. Do a couple more, and then we'll try the same thing on the other side. Last one. Back and forward, back to center. So back and forward, opposite arm, opposite leg. This might feel a little awkward because it's new. That's okay. Play around with it, but you're moving opposite arm, opposite leg. So kind of like a stationary crawl. Rock back, rock forward, rock back, rock forward. And it's okay if it's just a small rock. And it's okay if it's a large step forward and back. So do what feels good for you. Do what you can do for your body today. We'll do a couple more. And last one. We're gonna come all the way down into our 90-90. So remember, 90 degrees at our front leg, ankle, knee, hip. 90 degrees with our back leg, ankle, knee, hip. Fold over that front leg. As I rotate, internal, external rotation of my hip, I'm gonna lead with that back leg and slowly rotate to the other side. So I'm folding over that leg. You can use your hands, try to square off those hips. It's okay. It doesn't look like me. Just do as much as you can to go back and forth. Move at your own pace. Maybe you need to hold over top of that front leg. Maybe you need to grab a block or a pillow and prop yourself up. Maybe you need to use your hands as much as possible, or maybe you feel good and you want to go no hands at all. Keep that chest up. Reset those knees, 90-90. But I don't want you to go no hands if that means you then round at your spine. So use your hands as much as you need to keep that chest up. Back and forth. Internal, external rotation. We'll do a couple more over and back. And then we're gonna roll around a little bit, those slow and controlled rolls before we get started. So swing that foot up to the front. We're gonna roll back, control on the way up. You can always use your hands. You could also just draw those knees into your chest and do that diaphragm, pelvic floor breathing right here. So take your pick, listen to your body and what your body needs. Whatever you do is what's best for your body today. And that could be different than me, and that could be different than what you did last time, and that's perfectly okay. Do a couple more. And last one. All right, slowly lower yourself down to the ground. Stack those knees. We're gonna start with those dead bugs. Opposite arm, opposite leg. These are really great to stabilize your spine, so we do them a lot. Back stays flat. Again, you could always just lower that heel. If you need, maybe you want to straighten those legs today. Maybe you want to add a little hip raise, dead bug and up. However you want to challenge yourself is totally fine. Do a couple more. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Back to that contralateral movement. Remember, strengthening our X. Let's go one more each side. All right, lower those feet. We're gonna go into a bridge. We're gonna roll up. We're gonna go one leg at a time. So if any of us have had injuries, or often we have imbalances just because we have a dominant and non-dominant side, but especially if you've had any injuries, it can create imbalances between sides. So we're gonna go on one leg for our bridge. Now, if this feels too hard on one leg, go ahead and just do a regular bridge, and you'll do about 20 instead of 10 on each leg. So you're gonna plant one leg, only one leg, still do that draw maneuver. This leg is not on the ground. You can use your hands, or you can go no hands at all. So press those hips up, tuck those hips under, slowly lower down. Hips stay square. Halfway done, we'll do the other side. Two more. And last one, hold at the top, slowly lower down. Other side, we'll do the same thing. So drive those hips, control on the way up and on the way down. Almost. Last one, hold at the top and slowly lower down. Draw those knees into your chest and rock up. We will flip over. So wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. We're gonna do those bird dogs. We're gonna add a crunch. So I want everybody to try it this time. Extend opposite arm, opposite leg, hips and shoulders stay square. Bring that knee to elbow into crunch. If you want, you can add a little bit of abduction. So you're extending that arm and leg out, coming about a 45-degree angle out to the side, away from your midline, back to center, knee to elbow. So take your pick. You could do this crunch, or you could add that abduction, or staying on one side. Now, if that feels too hard, you could always just stay on one side and have your ending point be back in tabletop position. So take your pick. We'll do a couple more on this side. Hips and shoulders stay square. Drop those shoulders away from your ears. And last one. And other side, we'll do the same thing. So extend those hips back, hips and shoulders stay square. So you can place that foot down first, square those hips off, and then lift your leg. That's an easy way to kind of get yourself centered. Or you could place a book on your back so you can feel your hips shifting. So again, extend opposite arm, opposite leg. You could add that abduction, or just stick with the bird dog with the crunch. Couple more. Last one. All right, we're gonna come up to our hands or our knees, a half kneel. So one knee up, one knee down. I'm gonna raise the same arm as leg that is planted, and I'm gonna fold at my hips a little bit. You can let this back leg swing a little bit. I'm gonna fold at my hips to create some space and rotate down. Look up at that hand. So I'm gonna windmill and then come back up. Arm stays up by my ear. So rotate down, look up at that hand, and back up. So again, you can let this back leg kind of swing as you fold at your hips to create some space. Hand comes down, almost kind of a diagonal from this back leg. Look up and back up. Now, if that feels easy, you can come all the way down to your elbow and back up. So I'm gonna face this way. That's gonna be a little bit more of a shift laterally in your hips. So you're either gonna come down here to your hand, windmill, or shift those hips over, hinge at your hips, come all the way down to your elbow and back up. Arm stays up by your ear. So we'll do a couple more on this side and then we'll switch. Okay. Go at your own pace. You don't have to go down to your elbow. You can just come right here to your hand. Take your pick. Let's go one more. All right, other side, same thing. So arm up, let this back leg just kind of swing, shift your hips. You're gonna fold at your hips a little bit, rotate down, keep that line between your arms, look up at that hand, and come back up. We're doing a windmill. So back from my head to my tailbone stays in line, and you're rotating a little bit at your thoracic spine as you look up and windmill back. So again, you could come down to your elbow. As I come down, I'm gonna look up at that hand. So eventually, you would do this weighted, and you have more stability if you look at the weight overhead. You can stabilize it more at your shoulder, rather, if you look at it. So remember how our eyes play a huge role in our balance and stability? Yeah, there it is. We'll do a couple more here. And last one. All right, so lay yourself down, fold those hands. We'll take a few breaths. Breathe from your diaphragm. Let that belly fully expand out through your nose. Take a couple more breaths. We'll roll over and do this again. All right, roll yourself over. We'll start with those dead bugs. So your variation of a dead bug, whatever that is great. Now, if you need an extra moment, need to take a few more breaths, just hit pause, and you can rejoin the movement when you are ready. So especially when we do a little more high intensity stuff, if you need more recovery than I'm giving you, just hit pause, take your recovery, walk around, do some breaths, and then get back into it. So we're gonna stack those knees over our hips, shoulders are right in line with our wrists, and extend that opposite arm and opposite leg. So again, you could do that right here and lower that heel, back stays flat, or you could we'll do a couple more here. And last one. All right, lower yourself down. We're doing a bridge on one leg. Remember, you can always do it on 2 legs. Drive to those heels, hips stay square, tuck those hips under, squeeze your butt. You can leave your hands down to stabilize, or you can leave them up. A couple more. And last one. All right, other side, same thing. Move at your own pace. Breathe out as you drive up. Control on the way down. You might notice differences between your right and left side. Just make note of that. Last one. All right, roll on up. We'll do our half kneeling windmill. So one knee up, one knee down. Fold at your hips. Windmill it down and back up. So you can stay arm up by your ear. Either come down to your hand or come all the way down to your elbow. So take your pick. You could also go back to that rotation, that thoracic rotation, keeping those hips square, or you could just practice getting a little movement at your hips side to side. So if a windmill feels too hard for you right now, that's okay. You can do something else. So if you need help altering it, just let me know. Shoot a comment or send me an email, but those are 2 suggestions that you could do instead. Sorry, I should have said that the first round. Couple more. Look up at that hand. Keep that shoulder away from your ear. So you're rotating a little bit at your shoulder as you come down, as well as moving those hips. So same thing, other side. Come down to your hand, or come all the way down to your elbow. Keep breathing. Couple more. And last one. All right, lay it all the way down. We'll do some breaths, and we're gonna get our heart rate up a little bit. In through your nose, let that belly fully expand. Out through your nose. Take a few breaths, more, and then we'll get going. Last breath into your nose. All right, so we're gonna start with a squat, and we're gonna do, a couple of variations. So take those feet a hip width apart, or maybe just slightly wider. So a squat is more quad dominant. A hinge is more reliant on our posterior chain. So this would be a hinge. This would be a squat. So even in between the 2 exercises, from my head to my tailbone, it stays in line, whether I'm doing a hinge or whether I'm doing a squat. So neutral spine. So we're gonna do a squat. Only go down as far as you can control. Knees stay in line with your 2nd and 3rd toe, and they don't go over top of those toes. So keep that proud chest, sit those hips back, drop your butt. You can stay right here with a squat, or you can add a little bit of lateral movement where you take a step out, squat, take a step in, take a step out, squat, take a step in, back and forth. Take your pick. I'm gonna do some lateral movement. I don't care what you do with your hands. I have my elbows, knees, and ankles in line, like I'm doing a goblet squat. You could have your hands out. Harder would be overhead. Like Do a couple more, or you could have them up by your chest. Whatever you want to do. Out, squat, step in, out, squat, step in, or just stay right here with the squat. Maybe it's only to right here. That's okay. Maybe it's all the way down to parallel. Let's go, 2 more. And last one. Okay, now we're gonna go back to kind of that lunge we've done before. We're gonna take a step back, either a step back or a lunge. Remember we lunged and drove our knee? We're gonna make that explosive forward and backward. It's kind of like a sprint skip. So either just take a step back or come all the way down in a lunge. You're gonna take a hop step forward and a hop step back. Hop step forward, hop step back. So maybe you just start right here, load, explosively drive, load and drive. So that step is explosive, load, drive. And then slowly hop, little skip step, opposite arm, opposite leg. Almost. Couple more. And last one. All right, other side, load. So either a load here, just a step back, drive, load, drive. You can even load, skip, 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 or take it all the way back into reverse lunge, hop step forward. So we're moving opposite arm, opposite leg. Move at your own pace. Getting our heart rates up a little bit. Strengthening our hearts in that whole system. Last one. All right, come all the way down. We're gonna do a plank. So you have the option of doing it on your elbows and your toes, or you can do it on your knees. I'm just gonna hold. Come down if you need. Keep that line between your head and your tailbone. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your legs. Drop those shoulders away from your ears. Ten seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna crawl. We're gonna do a leopard crawl. As always, you have the option of just crawling on your hands and your knees. So we crawl a lot. You can do any variation of a crawl that you want. So we're gonna go 5 times. That was 2. That was 3. 2 more times. That was 4 last time. And back. Come all the way down. Hold those hands. Slow that heart rate down. We'll take some breaths here. Slow down that heart rate. In through your nose, let that belly fully expand. Out through your nose. When you feel like your heart rate is slowing down, we'll do that again. So if you need to press pause and wait a little bit, walk around, grab a drink, go ahead and press pause. You could stay right on the mat and do those breaths. I'm gonna get back into it, keep my heart rate up, and keep going. But if you need a little rest for those 4 exercises before we do them again, take a little rest, just hit pause, and do what you need to do so that you can be well and so that this is your workout. So if you're with me, we're gonna stand up. We'll go back into that squat. So you could just stick with a squat, or you could go that lateral movement. So step out, squat, step in, step out, squat, step in, out, squat, in, back and forth. So go down as far as you can control. So you're not feeling it in your knees, sit those hips back, drop your butt, knees don't go over top of those toes. And they track kind of in line with those second and third toes. We'll do a couple more. And then we'll go right into those sprint skips. So we had some variations for that if you need. It's been very hot and sweaty. It has been very hot the past few days in DC, like upwards of 100. So I happened to find a little shade today under a little cover, but it's still hot. All right, last one each side. All right, we'll go right into that sprint skip. So remember, you could just load, take a step back, hop forward, hop back, or you could just be explosive. Load, drive, load, drive, or you can come all the way down into a lunge, hop, skip, hop back and control. Skip forward, skip back. Opposite arm, opposite leg. So drive into this front leg. It's that sprinter lunge. So I'm loading this leg, explode as I run forward. Hop forward, rather. Couple more. Last one. We'll do the other side. Same thing. Load, explode. Load, explode. Load, explode. Get your heart rate up. Heart's a muscle too. Gotta work it. Couple more. And last one. All right, we'll come down into that plank. Almost done. So you can come on your hands and your knees, or you can do it on your toes. Hold as long as you can. You can take a break if you need, and then get right back up. Drop those shoulders away from your ears. Put those hips under, squeeze your butt, squeeze your legs. Halfway done. Almost. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, last thing, then we'll cool it down. We have 5 forward and backward crawls. So whatever your crawl is of choice, a few crawls forward, a few crawls backwards. That was 2. That was 3. You got 2 more. And the last one, forward and back. Very good job. Lay all the way down. Hold those hands. And take a few breaths here. Slow down that heart rate. In through your nose, out through your nose. In through your nose, out through your nose. If you need to come up onto your elbows and take a few breaths here, you can. We'll start to cool it down. So we'll go back to those head nods. Move with your breath. Maybe you want to look over your shoulders to your heels. Do what you feel you need to do. Maybe you just need to prop yourself up and take a few breaths and keep slowing that heart rate down. So whatever you need to do, I'm going to look over my shoulders, but do what you need to do. We're going to do a very gentle cool down today. to your hands and your knees. We'll go cat-cow, move at your own pace. A little bit, butt over your heels, shoulders over your wrists. If you want, you can rock all the way into an up dog, all the way back. Or maybe you just stick with that rocking, whatever you need, back and forth. Maybe you want to look over your shoulder as you rock. Take your pick. We'll do a couple more. And then sit all the way back. Keep child's pose. Extend those arms. We'll take 5 breaths here. In through your nose. Let that belly fully expand. Let it out. Exhale. That belly fully expand out through your nose. 2 more breaths. Alright, come up to a seated position. You are finished for today. So as always, we will do our 3 breaths together. Say one thing that you need to hear today. It could be anything. Okay, it could be I'm strong, I'm patient, I am kind, I'm resilient, I'm faithful, I'm creative, I am silly, I am free, whatever it is that you need to say to yourself. You know what that is. Take a few seconds and think about it as we take 3 breaths together, and then say it to yourself, or you can say it out loud, maybe write it down and keep it with you for the day, or the week, or until we meet next. So I invite you to close your eyes. We'll take 3 deep breaths in through your nose. Let that belly fully expand. Let it out, exhale. In through your nose. Let the belly fully expand. And last breath. Let it out, exhale. I am silly. So I hope you enjoyed our class today. We did a little bit of cardio, got our heart rates up a little bit. Remember, your heart is a muscle too. It's good to get out of breath. It's okay that it feels difficult and feels hard. That's okay. That's how we improve and that's how we get better. But as always, I invite you and I urge you to listen to your body so you know what you need to be well. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next class.